Step away from her, Mr. Walker, or neither of you will board this flight. Graham Mercer said it softly, but every word carried across gate B42. Ryan Walker looked at the elderly woman beside him. She held a valid first-class boarding pass in one hand and the handle of a worn gray suitcase in the other. Her name was Eleanor Brooks. Ryan did not know she was the richest woman in Denver. He also did not know that, behind the glass wall of the nearby lounge, 6 airline executives were waiting for a foundation chair they believed had not arrived. All Ryan knew was that Mercer had taken seat 2C from her and expected the room to keep moving. His phone vibrated. Final interview, 12:30 p.m. Seattle. Late arrivals will not be considered. Beneath it sat a message from his mortgage lender. 12 days remained before the file advanced. Since his wife died, Ryan had measured every risk against one question. Would Lily still have a safe place to sleep because of it? This flight was the last door still open. Lily leaned close. Daddy, are we still going to make it? Ryan glanced at the clock. Flight 417 would begin boarding in 10 minutes. Moments earlier, Eleanor had handed her pass to a young gate agent named Mia Torres. Seat 2C, Eleanor said. I checked in last night. Mia scanned it. A red notice flashed across her screen. Before she could explain, Mercer stepped beside her. There has been an operational reassignment. We can move you to economy or place you on the afternoon flight. Eleanor kept her voice calm. I purchased 2C, and you will be compensated. I did not ask for compensation. Mercer offered the smile of a man who believed polite words could make a decision clean. We are accommodating a significant corporate relationship. Ryan knew that language. At his old garage, management had called an unsafe truck an acceptable operational risk because the customer was too valuable to upset. Ryan refused to approve it. When the garage later lost a contract, he was the first technician cut. Since then, he had taught Lily that keeping your head down was sometimes how you kept a roof over it. Now she was watching him. Across the counter, Mia printed a new boarding pass for a man holding a Brooks Civic Holdings folder. Mercer took it from the printer before Ryan could read the seat number. Eleanor noticed. Was that my seat? Mercer lifted her suitcase and moved it outside the priority lane. Please wait in general seating. You are delaying preparation. The suitcase tipped and struck the floor. A few passengers looked up. Most returned to their phones. Ryan stepped forward. Scan her pass again. Mercer turned. Excuse me. Show her when the seat was changed. This does not concern you. It does if a paid seat can be taken from the easiest person to move. Eleanor touched Ryan's sleeve. Please, you have your daughter with you. Ryan saw Lily clutching their 2 economy passes. He saw the interview reminder on his phone and the paper stars taped above her bed at home. Mercer lowered his voice. Return to your boarding group now, and this ends here. Ryan almost moved. Then Mercer called, next passenger, while Eleanor bent to lift her suitcase with a trembling hand. Ryan picked it up first, set it upright, and stepped beside her. Mercer's expression hardened. Last warning. Ryan handed Lily his phone. Call the recruiter if I tell you to. Her eyes widened. Are we in trouble? Maybe. He faced Mercer. Her seat did not disappear. You moved it. Mercer reached toward the terminal. Step away from her, or neither you nor your daughter will board. Ryan looked at Lily once, then moved closer to Eleanor. Show us who has 2C. Eleanor looked from Ryan to Lily. Please let them board. I will take the later flight. Mercer's smile returned, as though surrender had repaired the morning. That is the practical solution. He placed a meal voucher and a rebooking slip beside Eleanor's ticket. There is one middle seat in economy. The afternoon departure has several. Eleanor did not touch either paper. A friend of mine begins treatment in Seattle today. I promised I would be there before noon. Then economy should be acceptable. Ryan looked toward the business delegation near the windows. The man who had received the fresh pass was speaking with 2 colleagues beside a presentation case marked Brooks Civic Mobility Partnership. He did not look pleased or arrogant. He looked unaware. Mercer had not stolen the seat because that man demanded it. He had stolen it because he feared disappointing the company represented on the folder. Give her my seat, Ryan said. Mercer checked Ryan's pass. You are in 28A. Put her there. Give me the middle seat. Someone may switch so Lily can sit close. Lily nodded. I can sit anywhere if Daddy can see me. Mercer's eyes cooled. This is not about locating a seat. Then what is it about? The Brooks delegation requires adjacent premium seating before this morning's signing. We are protecting a relationship that affects thousands of travelers. The answer was worse than an insult because Mercer said it without shame. Eleanor's promise to a sick friend had been priced against a contract she knew nothing about. So there was no aircraft change, Ryan said. I said there was an operational reassignment. After she checked in, within my authority, because you thought she would accept it quietly. A murmur moved through the gate. Mercer pushed Eleanor's suitcase farther from the velvet rope. Boarding begins in 2 minutes. This discussion is finished. Eleanor turned to Ryan. Your daughter needs this flight. Do not make her pay for me. Ryan looked down at Lily. He imagined arriving in Seattle on time, answering every question correctly, and calling the mortgage lender before dinner with something hopeful to say. All he had to do was step back into line. Eleanor began pulling her suitcase toward general seating. Her shoulders remained straight, but every step said she was trying to leave the humiliation before it became larger. Mercer lifted the microphone. Priority passengers may now form a single line. Ryan took 1 step toward Lily. Mercer relaxed. Good decision. Ryan reached for the boarding passes in Lily's hand. She thought he was preparing to board. Instead, he placed both passes on the counter beside Eleanor's untouched voucher. What are you doing? Mercer asked. Correcting something I taught my daughter. Lily moved beside him. Ryan did not address the crowd or ask anyone to follow. We are not boarding while her paid seat is being used to impress someone else. Mercer tapped Ryan's reservation on the screen. If I cancel your status, your seats may go to standby passengers. Ryan looked at the clock. Every second carried him farther from the job and the house. I understand. Mercer pressed the key. 2 red marks appeared beside Ryan and Lily's names. Mia looked at him, startled. Their seats are released, Mercer announced. A standby couple hurried toward the counter before anyone could reconsider. Ryan felt Lily's fingers close around his hand. Near the front of the priority line, an older man removed his glasses, folded them into his pocket, and stepped out. He placed his first-class pass beside Ryan's. My wife uses a cane, he said. Next time, you may decide she is the easiest person to move. He walked to Eleanor and sat beside her. No one applauded. The silence forced every passenger to make the choice privately. The older man introduced himself to Eleanor as Arthur Nolan and said nothing more. Ryan's phone rang in Lily's hand. The Seattle number flashed across the screen. Mr. Walker, this is Dana Cole from Pacific Municipal Fleet, a woman said. We are confirming you are still arriving for the 12:30 interview. Ryan watched Mercer begin boarding passengers around the abandoned passes. Our departure has become uncertain. The panel leaves tonight. We cannot move the final round again. How late can I check in? 12:15. After that, we move to the alternate candidate. Ryan thanked her and ended the call. Lily searched his face. Was that the job that helps with the house? Yes. Are we going to lose it? He crouched so they were eye level. He could have softened the answer, as he had softened overdue notices and empty cupboards. Today she was watching too closely. I don't know. Lily nodded, frightened but listening. Mercer raised the microphone. Attention, passengers. Boarding is being delayed by individuals refusing to cooperate with standard procedures. Several people turned toward Ryan. A man at the charging station checked his watch. A woman near the windows whispered that Eleanor had been offered another flight. In less than a minute, Mercer had changed the story. Eleanor was no longer the passenger whose seat had been taken. Ryan was the mechanic holding everyone hostage to a complaint. You see what you are causing? Mercer asked. I see what you are calling it. Stop pressuring people to join you. Ryan looked around. I have not asked anyone to stay. Your performance says otherwise. A woman in navy scrubs beneath a wool coat stepped out of the priority line. I manage home care nurses, she said. Half my patients are old enough to be ignored exactly like this. She carried her pass to Arthur's chair and sat down. Her name was Naomi Pierce. 2 other passengers moved out, then hesitated when Mercer warned that voluntary no-shows could lose compensation. One returned to the line. The other boarded after receiving a call about a hospital appointment. Ryan did not judge them. Courage did not erase the lives waiting at the other end of a flight. Mercer opened a second lane and called the business delegation forward. Caleb Ross, the man with the Brooks folder, approached the scanner. Mr. Ross, Mercer said warmly, we preserved the adjacent premium seating your team requested. Caleb lifted his freshly printed pass. Eleanor spoke from her chair. Was my seat 2C given to that gentleman? Mercer turned before Mia could answer. Mrs. Brooks, your rebooking is complete. Caleb stopped with the pass inches from the scanner. He looked at Eleanor's original ticket on the counter, then down at his own. Ryan saw his expression change. Would you check the number? Ryan asked. Mercer stepped between them. Do not involve our corporate guest. Caleb ignored him. He carried his ticket to the counter and placed it beside Eleanor's. Both read 2C. The printed times were different. Eleanor's had been issued the night before. Caleb's had been printed 12 minutes earlier at gate B42. Why do we have the same seat? Caleb asked. Mrs. Brooks was operationally reassigned, Mercer said. Your delegation received approved accommodation. Caleb looked toward the two colleagues behind him. We requested adjacent seats if they were available. I made them available. By taking one from her. Mercer lowered his voice. Your company is about to sign a major partnership with Summit West. I prevented an inconvenience. Caleb picked up the new pass, stared at it, then placed it back beside Eleanor's. We did not ask you to make someone else pay for our convenience. He stepped out of the lane and joined Ryan. One colleague followed him. The other remained, phone pressed to his ear, then boarded when his office told him to. 5 adults now stood outside the process Mercer controlled. Eleanor, Ryan, Arthur, Naomi, and Caleb. Lily stood with her father. The rest of the gate watched from a safer distance. Mercer called Priority Group 1. No one among the 5 adults moved. He called it again. The velvet lane remained empty except for the boarding passes on the counter. Economy passengers still filled the neighboring queue. The terminal was crowded, impatient, and loud, yet the line Mercer had fought hardest to protect had become a polished corridor leading nowhere. Final warning, he announced. Passengers who decline boarding will be treated as voluntary no-shows. Naomi checked the departure board. Her paid consultation in Seattle would be lost if she missed the connection. Arthur stared through the glass at the aircraft and quietly admitted that his wife's memorial dinner began that afternoon. Caleb received a message from his office ordering him to board and preserve the Brooks partnership. None of them pretended the decision was free. Mercer picked up the desk phone. Send airport security to B42. We have a coordinated disruption. Lily tightened her grip on Ryan's hand as 2 uniformed officers approached. The older officer, Maribel, stopped several feet away and studied the gate. The walkway was clear. No one blocked the scanner. No one shouted, threatened, or touched airline equipment. Ryan had already moved the small group behind a blue floor line so families could reach the jet bridge without squeezing past them. Naomi kept Lily close to the seats while Arthur pulled Eleanor's suitcase out of the traffic path. Mia continued scanning economy passengers without interruption. Who is obstructing boarding? Bell asked. Mercer pointed at Ryan. He organized a refusal and is interfering with operations. Bell looked at Ryan. Are you preventing anyone from boarding? No. Have you asked anyone to block the gate? No. Then what are you asking them to do? Ryan nodded toward Eleanor's boarding pass. Return the seat that was taken from her. Mercer stepped between them. Officer, the aircraft is waiting. Bell glanced at Mia. Can boarding continue? Mia hesitated. Mercer answered for her. Technically, yes. Then continue, Bell said. We will remain nearby. The uniforms had arrived, but they had not become Mercer's weapons. He changed tactics. Summit West understands emotions are high. Anyone boarding now receives a $300 credit. Premium passengers receive $500. 2 people who had stepped away earlier returned to the line. Mercer raised the offer to $700. A surgeon boarded because a patient was waiting. A salesman ran toward the scanner after learning his connection could not be protected. Ryan watched them go without judgment. The choice was only meaningful because leaving had a cost. A young father who had stood near Arthur apologized and boarded with a sleeping toddler. Another woman returned her voucher and stayed for 30 seconds, then ran to the scanner when her connecting gate changed. By the time Mercer stopped raising the offer, no wave of heroes had formed. Only the same few people remained. Arthur remained seated. Naomi silenced a call from her office. Caleb slid his phone into his pocket. Mercer looked at the shrinking group and smiled as if time would finish the work for him. 17 minutes remained before the aircraft door closed. Mr. Walker, he said, holding a tablet, your daughter should not pay for a disagreement between adults. Let us solve your problem before the clock solves it for you. Ryan looked at Lily, then at the two red cancellation marks beside their names on Mercer's screen. The standby couple holding their former seats had not yet entered the jet bridge. For the first time since placing the passes on the counter, Ryan saw a narrow road back to Seattle. Mercer turned the tablet toward him. "Come with me for 1 minute." Mercer moved only a few steps away, close enough for everyone to see, but far enough to make surrender feel private. "Your interview is in Seattle," he said. "I can restore your boarding status if the standby passengers accept vouchers. I can call ahead, document an airline delay, and remove every notation from your account." Hope struck Ryan so quickly it almost hurt. Mercer tapped the tablet. A short statement filled the screen. Eleanor Brooks voluntarily accepted alternate transportation after an operational seat reassignment. Ryan Walker misunderstood the interaction and acknowledges that airline personnel acted appropriately. "Sign," Mercer said. "You and your daughter board now. No report. No disruption record. You may still reach the interview." Ryan read the paragraph twice. It did not accuse Eleanor. It did something cleaner. It erased what had happened. The wording reminded him of the release form his old garage had pushed across the desk after the unsafe truck dispute. One harmless paragraph that converted a warning into a misunderstanding and left the person with less power carrying the blame. Lily stood beside him, too young to understand the words and old enough to understand the choice. "Will it help us keep the house?" she asked. Ryan looked at the standby couple near the scanner. He pictured Lily's room, the paper stars above her bed, and the foreclosure letter he had hidden under a stack of grocery receipts. "Maybe," he said. Mercer held out the stylus. "Then be her father." Ryan's hand closed around it. Across the gate, Eleanor rose and began pulling her suitcase away from Arthur and Naomi. She was trying to make herself smaller again so the people who had defended her could leave without shame. Ryan saw the effort in the set of her shoulders. He looked back at the statement. "It says she agreed. It is standard language." She did not agree. "It lets everyone move forward. It lets you move forward." Mercer lowered his voice. "Principals will not pay your mortgage." Ryan nearly signed. That was the truth of the trap. Silence could still save the thing he loved most. Then Lily asked, "What happens to her seat?" Ryan put down the stylus. "Nothing changes." "Then why do we have to say it did?" Mercer's eyes flashed toward her. A final boarding tone sounded from the jet bridge, sharp and mechanical. On the monitor, the standby couple's names moved closer to confirmation. Ryan understood that refusing now would not preserve a later choice. It would close the door. He handed back the tablet. "I won't sign what didn't happen." Mercer's face became still. He walked to the counter and thrust the microphone into Mia's hands. "Announce that Flight 417 is delayed because Ryan Walker refused lawful boarding instructions." "Use his full name." Mia stared at the microphone. Mercer leaned close. "Read it." The red light glowed beneath her thumb, but she did not press it. She looked at Ryan's canceled passes, Eleanor's original 2C, and Caleb's reissued 2C. "He did not refuse boarding," she said. "He gave up his own. You are not here to interpret policy. I am here to announce what happened. Your performance review is next week." Mia swallowed. Her hands trembled once. Then she set the microphone on the counter. "I can announce a delay. I will not announce that." The words traveled farther than any speech. Mercer ordered her away from the station. Officer Bell approached. "Is anyone threatening staff?" "They are refusing lawful instructions." "That is not what I asked." Bell looked at the small group, standing outside the marked lane. "No one here is violating a safety order." Mercer still controlled the clock. 14 minutes remained. He began calling passengers by name, separating urgency from conscience one person at a time. The gate kept moving. Ryan's group did not grow. It became smaller, more visible, and harder to dismiss. Mia returned to the scanner under Mercer's watch and processed 3 more passengers. Each green light proved Ryan was not stopping the flight. The only thing he refused to do was help the airline rename what it had done. By final boarding, the protest had not become a crowd. It had become 6 people: Ryan, Lily, Eleanor, Arthur, Naomi, and Caleb. Everyone else had either boarded, returned to the general seats, or chosen not to be involved. That smaller number made the cost clearer. Arthur would miss his wife's memorial dinner. Naomi had already lost her consulting fee. Caleb's employer had ordered him onto the plane and warned that refusal could end his role in the partnership. Ryan still had one narrow chance to reach Seattle if Mercer restored the seats immediately. His phone vibrated. Dana Cole had written, "Flight status shows boarding. Please confirm you are on it within 10 minutes." Ryan did not answer. Eleanor stood. "This has gone far enough. Take the offer if he gives it again. He gave our seats away. Then let me buy another route." "No, why?" Ryan looked at Lily. "Because she has already seen what the first decision cost. I cannot teach her that money makes the truth optional." He said it once and let the silence carry the rest. The clock changed to 11 minutes. Mercer called Ryan and Lily's names, not to board them, but to document that they were absent. Mia reached for the desk phone and requested the station manager. Mercer cut the call short. "I am the regional manager. A duplicate seat and a security dispute require station review," Mia said. For the first time, she used procedure against the misuse of it. Mercer started to answer, but the glass lounge behind the gate suddenly came alive. Airline executives hurried out beside a poised woman in a camel coat. A portable presentation panel rolled behind them, bearing the words Summit West, Brooks Civic Mobility Partnership. Staff carried silver pens, contract folders, and a press backdrop intended for photographs before Flight 417 departed. The 5-year program would move medical teams, municipal workers, and foundation-supported patients across the region. Brooks Civic Holdings had negotiated the rates. The Brooks Family Foundation would underwrite the public service portion. The launch required Eleanor's signature as foundation chair. Victor Lang, the airline's commercial chief, checked his watch. "We have 9 minutes before the press launch," he said. "Where is Mrs. Brooks?" The woman in the camel coat stopped. Her eyes moved past Mercer, past the empty priority lane, and settled on Eleanor beside the gray suitcase. Her expression changed, not because Eleanor was there, but because of where the airline had placed her. Victor repeated, "Charlotte, we are still waiting for Eleanor Brooks." Charlotte did not look away from the chairs. She had expected Eleanor to arrive alone and meet her inside the lounge, as she had done at countless formal events. For 20 minutes, airline staff had told Charlotte that the foundation chair was late. "No," she said. "You have been looking past her for 40 minutes. The executives followed her gaze. Mercer looked at Eleanor, then at the Brooks name on the presentation panel. The color left his face in stages. Ryan knew Brooks Civic Holdings. The company owned medical centers, housing developments, and one of Colorado's largest commercial fleets. Its founder, Eleanor Brooks, was a billionaire and the wealthiest person in Denver. Charlotte Brooks, Eleanor's daughter and the company's current CEO, had been waiting inside the lounge. The woman Mercer had moved outside the velvet rope was also the foundation chair whose signature Summit West needed before the public partnership could begin. No entourage announced her. The only signal was the empty signature line inside the lounge and the woman waiting outside it in a plastic airport chair. Victor's assistant slowly lowered the presentation folders. A photographer waiting near the lounge lowered his camera. The entire commercial event had been built around a woman the gate had classified as disposable. Ryan looked at Eleanor. She had never hidden behind a false name. The room had heard Brooks and still failed to see her because no one expected power to be carrying its own worn suitcase. Charlotte crossed the gate. She stopped in front of Eleanor without reaching for a dramatic embrace. "Were you traveling to Seattle this morning?" "I was trying to." Charlotte looked at the pass marked 2C. "Who changed this?" Mercer stepped forward. "Ms. Brooks, there has been a misunderstanding involving a discretionary cabin adjustment." Caleb answered before Charlotte could. "He used our delegation as the reason." The clock changed to 8 minutes. Victor opened the lounge door. "We can resolve this immediately. Mrs. Brooks can use the executive entrance. We will restore a premium seat on the next departure, reimburse every cost, and complete the signing before the deadline." Charlotte looked through the glass at the contract table and the company logos arranged for photographs. Her board had spent 8 months negotiating the agreement. Summit West would carry employees, medical teams, and foundation travelers at reduced rates. The board had tied the launch to Charlotte's renewal as CEO. Losing it could cost millions in her position. For years, Charlotte had defended decisions by saying scale required compromise. Eleanor had answered less and less often, until their conversations became schedules arranged by assistants. Now the language of scale had been used against the one person Charlotte could not reduce to a business variable. Was her original seat available when she arrived? Charlotte asked. Mercer answered with the same careful tone. A corporate accommodation had already been authorized. Did she approve it? Passenger approval is not required for every operational decision. Charlotte looked at Caleb. Did our company ask for another traveler's seat? No. Victor pushed a settlement folder toward Eleanor. The station manager can review the details while we sign. The operational issue and the partnership should remain separate. Denise Alvarez arrived at the gate carrying no entourage, only a station badge and the controlled expression of someone who understood the operation had failed before she arrived. Before anyone signs anything, Denise said, I need both passes. Eleanor handed her the original 2C. Caleb handed her the reissued 2C. Denise began scanning them. 7 minutes remained before the aircraft door closed. Victor lowered his voice to Charlotte. You and I can sign while she reviews. We can protect the program and address the incident afterward. Charlotte's phone lit with a board message. Sign today. Handle incident after launch. She read it once. Then she crossed to the presentation panel, removed the Brooks nameplate, and placed it face down on the contract table. Take our name off the announcement. Victor stared at her. Charlotte, you do not have a replacement carrier. Then we do not have a launch. Your board will remove you. They may. She sent one message. Partnership suspended pending public resolution at Gate B42. A second message arrived almost instantly. Board emergency call. Attend now. Charlotte declined it and placed the phone face down beside the unsigned contract. The cost left her hand before the outcome existed. The press photographer packed away his camera. Staff began removing the partnership folders from the signing table, while the airline still had no answer about Seat 2C. Eleanor watched. She did not reward Charlotte with instant forgiveness or use the moment to heal years in public. She simply moved a little closer, close enough that they were finally standing on the same side of the counter. Victor turned toward Denise. We need an immediate answer. Eleanor raised one hand. Finish the review before my name changes it. Denise nodded. Mercer tried to speak. The passenger's identity was not available to the gate team. Denise kept reading the record. Her identity is not part of the seat. 6 minutes. Mia stood beside the scanner. Officer Bell remained near the lane. Arthur and Naomi watched the aircraft through the glass. Ryan checked his phone. If he did not board within 5 minutes, Dana would move to the alternate candidate. Denise found the manual release of 2C and the corporate accommodation code, issued 12 minutes later. She turned the monitor toward Mercer. Was there an aircraft change? No. A safety restriction? No. Did the passenger request rebooking? Mercer looked toward Victor, but the contract panel no longer carried the Brooks name. I exercised premium service discretion. Denise glanced at the clock. Then we have 5 minutes to correct it. Victor reached for the face-down nameplate, as if placing it upright could restore the morning. Charlotte put her hand over it. Not yet. No one answered. Denise moved behind the counter and took control of the terminal. Denise did not ask the room what should happen. She followed the record. Eleanor had checked in the previous evening. Mercer had manually released 2C and reissued it to Caleb. No aircraft change, safety issue, or passenger request supported the move. Seat 2C returns to Eleanor Brooks, Denise said. She then instructed Mia to correct the gate record. The delay had resulted from a disputed manual reassignment, not passenger obstruction. The correction was entered before anyone mentioned Eleanor's company or fortune. Mercer stepped closer. You cannot reverse a regional premium decision during final boarding. Denise removed the radio from his belt. I can remove you from this gate while I do it. His hand rose as if to stop her, then fell when Officer Bell moved one step nearer. Denise handed the radio to Mia. Acting lead until replacement staff arrive. Mia accepted it. Mercer looked toward Victor. Victor was staring at the unsigned contract. He looked toward Caleb. Caleb had rejected the seat. He looked toward security. Bell had already determined there was no disruption. He looked toward the passengers. There were only 3 adults beside Ryan now, not an idealized crowd, but they were enough. Nothing Mercer said could restore the supports that had already withdrawn. He had been left without anyone willing to carry his decision. Mercer tried once more. Removing me now exposes Summit West to commercial loss. Denise pointed toward the face-down Brooks nameplate. Commercial loss does not alter a boarding record. Step away from the counter, she said. Mercer walked past the velvet rope without the radio, microphone, or authority he had used to make others smaller. No one cheered. The clock showed 4 minutes. Mia printed a replacement pass for Eleanor. Flight 417, Seat 2C, Original Fare Class. Victor hurried forward. Mrs. Brooks, we can escort you through the private entrance. Eleanor looked at Denise. Is 2C mine because of the record? Yes. Only then did Eleanor accept it. Then I will use the same gate as everyone else. Denise cleared Arthur, Naomi, and Caleb to board. Their reservations had remained active. Ryan and Lily's had not. The standby couple who received 28A and 28B were already on the aircraft, and the final load had been transmitted. Denise shook her head. I can rebook you this afternoon, correct your account, and issue written confirmation that gate management canceled your travel. I cannot put you back on this aircraft. She printed the letter while Mia removed the false disruption note from both reservations. Ryan watched the paper emerge, knowing it could prove why he missed Seattle, but could not force an interview panel to reopen. Ryan checked the clock. 3 minutes. His phone vibrated. Dana Cole's message appeared. We have moved to the alternate candidate. I am sorry. The interview was gone. Winning had not returned what he spent. Lily read his face and leaned against him. Eleanor stepped closer. You lost it. Yes. Because you stood beside me. Because I chose to. Charlotte reached into her coat, then stopped before turning the moment into a payment. Caleb leaned toward her and quietly told her what Ryan had said about fleet maintenance. Charlotte asked Ryan one question. What kind of work? Commercial fleet repair? Safety inspections? Shop supervision? Brooks Civic has a safety supervisor recruitment process next week. It is competitive. I can give you the public contact and nothing more. Ryan considered the offer. An application, not a debt. Exactly. She handed him a plain card with the recruitment office number. The clock showed 2 minutes. Mia opened the velvet rope. Arthur, Naomi, and Caleb moved aside instead of rushing through it. Naomi's connection was already gone. Arthur would arrive after the memorial dinner began. Caleb had received a final message informing him that his role in the negotiation was under review. Their choices had consequences too, and none of them asked Eleanor to repay them. Eleanor looked at them. You did not know me. Arthur answered. We knew the seat was yours. That was enough. Eleanor entered the lane with her old suitcase. The executives waiting for her signature stood behind the lounge glass, now waiting for a decision she no longer owed them. At the scanner, Eleanor paused beside Charlotte. Call me after I land, she said. Charlotte's eyes filled. Before the board meeting? Before any meeting. It was not forgiveness. It was a door. Eleanor then faced Ryan. You stood before my name did. Ryan nodded toward the aircraft. Then keep the seat. Mia scanned 2C. The light turned green. Eleanor walked down the jet bridge. Arthur followed, then Naomi and Caleb. The aircraft door closed less than a minute later. Flight 417 pushed back with the correct passenger in 2C and without the partnership Mercer had tried to protect. Charlotte remained at the window as her board continued calling. She turned the phone off. Denise rebooked Ryan and Lily and cleared every notation from their accounts. Across the concourse, Mercer sat beside an investigator, no longer directing anyone. Victor quietly ordered staff to remove the unsigned partnership backdrop. Charlotte told him any future negotiation would begin only after Summit West released the internal findings to its own employees and corrected the account given at the gate. She made no threat about ownership, lawsuits, or publicity. The suspended signature was enough. The visual that remained was simpler. One open gate, one corrected boarding record, and a man who had lost his flight because he refused to help turn a lie into procedure. The record was corrected before the contract was reconsidered. No crowd had rescued Eleanor. Ryan, 3 passengers, a gate agent, and Charlotte had each refused to carry the decision any farther, and that had been enough. Ryan and Lily waited near gate B39 for the afternoon departure. The interview was gone. The mortgage deadline remained 12 days away. Courage had not solved either problem, and Ryan was grateful the morning had not lied about that. Lily sat beside him with her backpack on the only empty chair. An elderly woman approached slowly, scanning the crowded area for somewhere to rest. Before Ryan could speak, Lily lifted the backpack and placed it at her feet. You can sit here. The woman smiled. Thank you, sweetheart. Ryan shifted over to give her room. His phone held no miracle call. In his pocket was Charlotte's card and the address of a competitive application he had not earned yet. He took it out, read it once, and opened the recruitment page. Fleet Safety Supervisor, Brooks Civic Holdings. The requirements matched work he had done for years: commercial maintenance, inspection leadership, technician training, and refusal authority on unsafe vehicles. Lily leaned against his arm. Is that a job? It is a chance to ask for one. Will it save the house? I still don't know. She considered the answer, then nodded. But you know what to say this time. A boarding announcement sounded overhead, and Lily glanced toward the new gate before looking back at the application. Ryan looked at her. What do you mean? Tell them you do not sign things that are not true. It was the only lesson she repeated, and she said it like a child remembering her father, not like someone delivering a speech. The elderly woman beside her struggled to lift a carry-on. Ryan set the phone down and stood. Let me help you with that. As he raised the bag into the rack above the seats, Lily watched him with a tired, certain smile. She had seen fear cost him something real. She had also seen him refuse to make another person pay for it. Ryan returned to his seat and began the application. He entered his years of experience, listed the safety dispute that had cost him his last position, and did not soften the reason he left. The first seat he saved that morning was not 2C. It was the one his daughter chose to give away.